20 years ago, I sat in this very BMW on this very beach, having just lost my business, up to my neck in credit card debt and no income. My family house was going and I was living in a 2-bedroom flat. And my motivation at the time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I had 2 young sons and I knew I had to do something. So as I sat here, I figured out what I was good at, and I was very good at helping companies grow. So I started to come up with an idea for a business, and I thought, what am I good at? I'm very good at purpose, defining what goals companies should have, defining where you want to get to. So I was very good at doing that. Clarity. I was very good at planning, and I was very good at execution. And I put the 3 of them together and came up with the name Purplex, which is an acronym for purpose, planning and execution. And I thought, that's it. That's my business. That's what I'm going to do. And sat right here on this beach in this BMW, I decided to launch a business, consultancy business, helping companies grow, helping companies succeed, and to use the tools that I had and the skills that I had to help companies grow. So I launched that business literally from here, from this car, and I spent the next 2 years driving around the UK, sat in this old BMW. I ran up over 250,000 miles on the clock, going to see potential customers, getting their input, helping them grow. And then eventually the car gave up the ghost and the engine blew up, and I ended up paying somebody £50 to take away this old car. And that became the start of the journey. Now, it doesn't end there, because 17 years later, I spotted this very car with this private Irish number plate on it. I spotted this car on the road and I couldn't believe it. So I followed the car. I finally convinced the guy to pull over and talk to me. And I asked him what had happened. And he told me he had bought the car from a reclamation yard. The engine had been rebuilt and he had been driving it now for 17 years. Wow. So I couldn't help myself. At this point, I had rebuilt my business, rebuilt my career, and I'd become fairly successful. So I just said, look, I want to buy this car back from you again. I just want to buy this car. But he wouldn't sell it to me. And I managed to get his number. I rang him constantly. I texted him. I even stuck a post-it note on the window of the car when I seen it. And but he wouldn't sell it. Anyway, some months go by, and eventually I get a call out of the blue, and it's this chap. And he says, look, if you're still interested in buying the car, I'm interested in selling it. So we agreed a deal there and then. I paid £3,000 for this car that was worth about £300. And I realized soon afterwards what a pile of absolute rubbish I had just purchased. So at this point, it's got 335,000 miles on the clock, and it looked like chickens had been living in it for years. It was awful. Duct tape was holding the car together. It was shocking. But I'd bought it, and I then had the car fully restored. And here I am, 20 years later, sat on the same beach, in that same car, having built a multi-million-pound group of companies with a multi-million-pound property portfolio, and thinking, do you know what? It doesn't really matter what happens to you. It doesn't matter how low you get. There's always hope. And this car, for me, really reflects that. This car reminds me that it doesn't matter how bad things get. There's always a tomorrow. There's always a new opportunity. And I'm now looking forward to going in the next stage of this journey over the next 20 years with this car, which will be a reminder to me and everybody who goes on that growth journey of what is possible.